Hey, welcome to another amazing episode of Dentistry Gone Wild. And of course, I'm here with my partner in crime, my buddy, my BFF, Melissa Turner. Hey, girl.
What's up, friend? Hi, Sonya. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. Like we go in these fits and spurts where it's like we see each other like every day for a while, and then like it's just like stopping and starting. But hey, I love these days recording with you. They're so much fun. I love being with you. Yeah, life is great right now. How's life for you?
It's pretty cool. I know you're cold there. In
Yes.
November it's really cold where you are, but I have to brag.
Oh,
It's
come
still
on.
pretty cool here in Florida.
You're gonna do
I'm
this
not
every year, aren't you?
I'm gonna do this every single year. But my daughter just moved to Vermont. She's never ever seen snow.
What? Whoa. Okay.
She is, and she went in a t-shirt and shorts. They don't listen to me. So soon as she got there off the plane, she was on Amazon ordering long johns and jeans and hoodies. And she said, I ordered a chinchilla, whatever that is. I'm
Wait,
like,
isn't
girl,
that an animal?
I think it's some sort of coat. But she's freezing. She's never been really out of Florida, or she went to the Bahamas a couple of times, but never that cold. And
Well,
she took
you know snow because you're Detroit, right?
I'm
So,
Detroit, yeah, but
I
they
mean,
never went back in the wintertime with me.
oh, really? Yeah. So, do you not like the cold either? Because you're not in Detroit anymore,
No, I
and
think
you're rubbing it
our
in.
blood. I think anyone on here that's up north and moves south, I think our blood thins out. I think when you're in the colder weather, I don't know, is this a myth? But I think you have thicker blood, could keep you warmer. I don't know, but every time I go somewhere where it's just a little cold, I'm just freezing. My nose is cold, and when I went to Detroit in October. I took boots and a coat and gloves, and everybody was looking at me like, "Are you crazy?" I also happen to wear boots and sweaters because we don't get to wear boots and sweaters here. If you do, you get musty because you're hot. So it's
That's
like
disgusting.
I know. But it's just the way it is. I love the
Yeah.
palm trees. I love the
Yeah.
reindeers on the lawn, and there's no snow around them. I love the lights out, and there's no snow. I just love it all. It's corny, but I love it.
I know. Snow is only pretty when it falls, and then after that, it just like because I remember growing up in the Northeast Pennsylvania, it's like it stays around, and then if you're ever in the snow in New York City, just stay away because it like melts and then gets all like dirty, and then it snows on top of that, and so then you just have piles and piles of like muddy snow all over the place, and it just loses its like character. It loses its
This is
coolness.
his
It's just
character.
like dumb now.
Yeah, but I'm just glad to be back here with you today. I'm glad to be doing another episode of Dentistry Gone Wild, the official podcast for mobile and teledentistry.
There we go.
So now
Yes.
I'm gonna let you talk about our guest today. We have been trying to catch up with this person forever.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So our guest today is someone who, quite frankly, everyone loves. And I'm going to tell her this to her face because you mentioned her name and everyone's like, oh, I love her.
I know.
So today we have Dr. Pam Maragliano-Muniz on with us. So, Dr. Pam, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. You started to make me tear up when you said that.
Well, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it to your face, Pam, because you are. I was gonna say that I'm gonna use the word beloved, but I don't know what that means.
I don't know what
It's
it means.
like a Bible term. But everyone just loves you. So thank you just for being like a positive icon and positive feminine icon in dentistry. We all look up to you.
Oh my goodness. That I feel like you're not even describing me. I feel like that's just well beyond what I deserve. But thank you so much for saying that.
You're welcome. Well, welcome to the show. It's late winter here, and I know you were on vacation earlier this year, and so like just welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. The biggest reason we have you, well, okay, we're gonna wait for that one. First of all, too, congratulations on moving to chief editor at Dental Economics this year. I know you spent many years with, was it Dentistry IQ?
I was with actually Dentistry IQ for just 1 year. And then
Really?
yes, I know it feels like a lifetime because I shot a lot of videos when the
Yes.
office was closed. But yeah, technically it was only well, maybe a year and a half with DIQ.
Really? Okay. Well, yeah, because you started producing that video content just day after day after day, and it was over COVID. So you were right. So it was what was needed at that time. So how's it been? How's it been switching roles like that through COVID?
It's been awesome. So Dentistry IQ was interesting because it did. I started that role in February and then my office closed in March. And we decided, well, we should probably come up with a video series. And I was like, well, guys, I have nothing to do. My office is closed. And so next thing you know, I'm shooting videos, multiple videos a day. And so it was kind of crazy, but it was awesome. And I feel like it introduced me to a lot of people in the industry. I learned a lot. It helped me actually navigate through the office closures and reopening and infection control and all the things. And I just felt like I was kind of into the groove. And then my office reopened, and it was just kind of a steady flow of things. And then this opportunity came up with DE. And I mean, gosh, how do you pass that up?
I know. Now, are you still keeping your office open even with this position? Because I know you travel a lot with them, right?
I do, but yeah, technically it's so funny. People ask me, do you even practice? And I was like, actually, my practice is my primary lot in life, believe it or not. I own my own practice. I'm a solo practitioner right now, but I am looking for an associate. And basically, yeah, I'm in the office 4 days a week, but 2 of the days I've shortened up to give more time to DE. So I'm with DE probably about 2.5-ish days a week, and the rest of the time I'm with patients. And then obviously I sometimes do a little shuffling around when I have to get into an airplane.
Wow.
Yes, we all do these days. So how has it been? I know you were able to, like you said, kind of take the lead on finding the right protocols and procedures for COVID, for having a practice during COVID. So do you feel like you're in a new normal now? Like, can you go to work and be like, yeah, like I know what to expect now. We're in a new normal, or is that just a myth that's kind of out there?
No, it's a thing. It's absolutely a thing. I think we all had this moment where, initially we were supposed to be closed for 2 weeks. And you're like, well, is it sort of like a vacation? Is it not? Like, I'm not really sure what to do with that. But then, and at least where I am in Boston, and listening to you two talk about the snow was hilarious because that's my life.
Wow.
So it was one of those things where, you had time to actually take a deep breath and look around and reflect a little bit. And, you know, I love what I do with my whole heart, and I love my practice. And it was one of those things where I was like, it's just not where I ever thought it would be at this point. And it was something where I felt like I needed a change. And for me, it took a pandemic to kind of kick me in the pants and change things up a little bit. So as far as getting protocols in place and things like that, I had really only one team member, my office manager, who was like my right hand, like the two of us. I was shooting these videos. I was making her watch these videos. We were shopping all the time. We were just kind of making it happen. And it was nice to have that time when the office was closed to kind of regroup and get ready for when we reopened. But I also realized during that time that I needed to change things up a bit. So I actually, throughout this pandemic, changed my entire clinical team. And so
Wow.
now my new normal is so freaking awesome. I go to work every morning. I love everybody that I work with. I love them individually. I love them collectively. Like, I belly laugh with them. Like, this is stuff that just didn't happen for years. And so now it's just, I found a whole new love for my practice that I really hadn't had before.
Wow. I really want you to write about that. When you have time, write some articles about that. I know you probably already have, but that's a brave and a bold move. And I think for practice owners, whether you're mobile practice owners or fixed practice owners, I mean, it's the same thing, like getting that dream team and, investing in your team like that and taking the chance to get who you want and who you vibe with. That's life changing there for everyone involved.
Yes.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I hope for everybody else, if you get anything out of this, don't make it take a pandemic to make you make a change. It was one of those things where, I mean, I know this sounds probably a little crazy, but with my office, I bought a practice that was 32 years old. And so I didn't really know if the patients were there for me, or the owner didn't stick around long. So it was me and an existing staff. And, were they around because of the familiar team around me, or were they around for me? And then finally, during the pandemic, I was like, I can't care anymore. Like, I need this practice to be the way I want it to be, because I'm making everybody else comfortable around me and I'm so unhappy. And so I really hope that if you're in a situation like I was, that you just kind of take a deep breath, trust in yourself, make that change, and you'll be so, so stinking happy you did.
That was powerful. That was powerful. And everything that you said make yourself a priority. And that is so important, because your happiness is important. And that's what you did. And I'm sure once you made that happen, you were able to make the other people around you happy. And of course, you may have lost some patients, but yeah, I'm sure whatever, if you did lose, you're going to gain just as many who are truly there for your style, because it's your practice. And your team is going to appreciate that a lot.
It's actually interesting that it really didn't happen. We had some patients that we sort of just assumed never really accepted things, and just, kind of would come in and just, go through the motions, that sort of thing. It's almost like the whole practice was defibrillated. There's patients that I always thought were kind of like, not really that motivated, who are now coming in every 3 months, that
Wow.
want to see what their perio chart looks like, who wants to, they want to tell Sarah, like, hey, I've been using my water pick. Or I have a patient who's like always kind of not really loved coming in, who's like, I want to see Amber. Amber comes in once a month, and he's like, I don't care. I'll move my schedule around to see Amber.
No,
That's
I would want to see Amber.
I know.
love Amber. I love Amber.
Oh, I know. It's like, I know I have to bring like my energy and my A game just to, because she's just so unbelievably extra in a good way.
That's my girl.
It's so fun.
Oh my goodness. Well, okay. So for those listening, obviously this is a mobile dentistry and teledentistry podcast. So we always have to at least talk about that a little bit. But really, when you step back and look at things, this podcast is about the future of dentistry. It's about technology. It's about the way that things will be and the way that things are right now, and how you get from point A to point B. And so we are excited. Sonya and I are really over the moon excited, because coming out in December, dental economics is going to have an issue that's entirely devoted to healthcare delivery. Is that right?
It is. So I don't know if everybody really I didn't know that every issue of DE, and probably RDH for that matter, has kind of a theme, so it's not sort of like, oh, it's just, plop a bunch of articles together, but there's actually a curated theme each month. And I was so excited. I decided to kind of ride out Chris's calendar, so I can't take all the credit for that, but I am excited about it. That December's theme is mobile and teledentistry, and all things revolving around it. So I think that, those that are, in a van and they're mobile and they're doing it, that's your everyday. But, say somebody like me who's not mobile and, has just a fixed practice, and then all of a sudden a pandemic hits and we need to figure this out. There's a lot to figure out. And I think that regardless of how you practice or where you practice, there's kind of a blend, and there's a place for it in every practice. And so I think that we just need to figure out how to make that work for us.
Yeah. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's one of these things when Sonya and I first started our conference and our membership platform, the American Mobile and Teledentistry Alliance, we wanted to make sure that the titles included both mobile dentistry and teledentistry, because those are the two, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. We always say this, you can kind of have one without the other, but they go so hand in hand that for a practice that, starts to think outside of the box and starts to maybe incorporate some virtual care, the easy next step is to then say, well, what else can I do outside of the confines of the four walls of my op? What else can I do outside of my fixed practice? And so mobile dentistry may not be for every single dental practice. We kind of think it is, but we're biased.
Very biased.
Very biased. But what we know is that, once you start thinking outside of the four walls of your dental practice, and once you start, kind of thinking the opposite of like, okay, letting my patients come to me, my patients are going to come to me. Once you start thinking of going to them, the opportunities are endless. And that's what we get excited about. And so I feel like as an industry, we're on this pivotal kind of bell curve. We're starting to kind of go up this bell curve where we're starting to experiment with, okay, what does non-traditional clinical care look like? What is healthcare doing right now with it? And then, how can we incorporate that? So, Dr. Pam, do you think that mobile dentistry, teledentistry, virtual care, remote patient monitoring, do you think that has a significant role in the future?
I think it does. I think this is such an interesting time in dentistry, and it's not a time to kind of sit back and just watch and see what happens. It's time to make this change for your practice, because let's talk about kind of, if we're going to generalize, if you will, our baby boomers are getting older. In fact, just this week spoke to one of my older patients who called me and said, I can't come back to your practice, and neither can my wife. She has dementia. We both have canes. My practice is in Salem, Massachusetts, where there's like old little cobblestone walkways, and it's just not conducive for people who have mobility issues. And so he asked me to recommend another dentist in the area who, would be a practice that's easier for them to get to. And you think about the new dentists, the new hygienists, graduating millennials that we have now, they're experienced people. They don't want to be sitting in the same place for the next 30 years. So it's actually kind of a cool combination. You've got people who can't get in to the practice because of whatever issues or whatever, for whatever reason. And then you have this incoming flux of professionals that don't want to be in a brick or mortar practice, from now until, the day before they die. And so I think that there's going to be a very, very cool and very beneficial for patients thing that takes place. And I think there's going to be a mix of, your traditional dental practice, but then this offering to let us come out to you, to the community, so that we can better serve you.
Exactly. And I'm glad you hit on that, because especially during the pandemic, we were able to teach to a lot of dental students. I actually did a lot of online courses about mobile and teledentistry to dental students that are in their third and fourth year of dental school, who are looking, saying, now we have a pandemic. I don't know how long this is going to last. I'm already in a lot of debt, and I don't want to get into a lot of debt right out of the block. And a lot of dental students, the millennials, are looking at different ways to practice. And there are a lot of dentists. I was just online looking today. There are a lot of dentists that are doing comprehensive dentistry, not only in mobile. When I say mobile, I mean a van, but also in pop-up. And that's when you pull and tote your equipment in and you pop up your walls in someone's place of business or community centers. And the way people have seen mobile dentistry in the past as just underserved, it's just second nature now. Of course, mobile dentistry is great for underserved areas and people who have difficulties getting into practices or who can't afford it. But dentistry itself, orthodontistry, is going into mobile dentistry. So I have a friend in Atlanta. She has a mobile dental van that's cosmetic dentistry only. So exactly. And also doing Invisalign and whiteners in mobile vans. So I think there's some people who would never ever walk through our dental office doors again, but they'll allow someone to come to their door. So there's different ways of looking at dentistry. I think that the pandemic, like we know that mobile dentistry has been around for years. It started back in the World War II time with the military, but the pandemic put it on steroids, if I could say that, on steroids, and it put it in our face, especially teledentistry. People were doing teledentistry on their phones, but so it put it in our face. So I'm excited to see about the December issue. I encourage everyone to discover the different types of mobile dentistry and the advantages they have to offer. Our company just finished being accredited. Our mobile dental company now we're accredited
Hey.
like a hospital. So and that's something, another platform through ACHC that mobile dentistry has to offer to get the providers accredited. So it's just a great avenue for people to think about as they provide their care. And like Melissa always say, our arm. It can also be an arm outside of the practice. Let me say something, one more thing. Wouldn't it be great if you had a mobile hygienist that couple who couldn't come in, that she could take her equipment and do a teledentistry exam in the comfort of their own home and do a prophy there, and you could still bill the insurance? Wouldn't that be amazing? So that's the net. You don't even have to lose your patients. You can follow them for the rest of their lives.
There you go. That's a good phrase, Sonya.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you think about it now too, is that we've got, I think that this do-it-yourself dentistry thing that's going on, which I know we all kind of are like, when we hear it. I mean, is it because, companies are just trying to make money, or is it because people are working harder? They have more commitments. I mean, now that we can do everything via Zoom, we now can work from our home all day, all night, and not even leave. And I think it's harder for patients to maybe come on in and get these appointments. And so I think that this would be a great way to answer back to the do-it-yourselfers who, maybe they're doing it themselves because they don't really have the opportunity, or they have a hard time getting to the dental practice. I mean, I think there's other issues there too, but I do think that maybe if you say, hey, somebody can come to you, we can get this, done in an effective, efficient, and, done well type of way. I think that this is where we're going.
Mm-hmm. And even, you mentioned the do-it-yourselfers. The one thing that I really like about them is that they're taking ownership. I mean, they it may not be what we recommend as clinicians, but they're taking ownership of whatever's happening in their mouth. And I think that's a lot of times clinically, that can be the hardest kind of bridge or hurdle to get over with our patients, is like, okay, now that we have intraoral cameras, you pop that photo up on the big screen and they're like, oh my God, no, I don't want that in my mouth. Get it out. Right. So they take ownership. And so that's one thing. So switching gears just a little bit, if there was a good thing that came out of the pandemic, right? One of my favorite things that came out of it is that there's so many different ways to incorporate virtual care into a practice, whether it's simply, pre-screening patients and filling out forms online, or whether it's triaging, or whether it's sending recorded videos to your patient and communicating that way, or live video chat. So Dr. Pam, did you experiment with any of this type of virtual care in your practice? I mean, you're a prosthodontist, so it might be a little bit different than maybe how a general dentist would use it.
So, well, my practice is interesting in the sense that, yes, I'm a prosthodontist, but I have a hygienist. I have 2 hygienists. Actually, I've got 3 hygienists now. And for those patients that are our routine patients, I'm their dentist. So obviously, I mean, I don't do endo or surgeries or things like that, but anything restorative I take care of for them. So I definitely have an element of general dentistry in my practice. And yeah, I'd say the first thing, we started with the forms and that kind of thing, I think before the pandemic, but I think we've definitely buttoned that up since the pandemic as well. But again, I think having that time off, allowing us to kind of look at our systems and regroup and make them better, I think bringing in any sort of online type of forum, online payments, all of these things are something that people are doing all the time. Why are we still in a different decade in dentistry? But yes, I started with virtual consults, and I thought they were great. Obviously, it's a little hard when somebody's like, "Can you look at my molar?" Like from a regular Zoom camera. But I think that it was really great to be able to spend the time talking to your patients. I remember my first emergency that called me. I was like, I just wanted to stay on the phone with them. I just was excited to just have a conversation with somebody who wasn't my husband. And I was like,
Or dog, right?
Yeah, I was like, this is so great. I was like bringing up topics I don't even normally talk about. I was like, oh, what about the Patriots? What do you think they're doing? I was like, just to keep, just kind of keep that personal connection. But yeah, I started virtual consults. It's definitely something that's kind of waned a little bit, at least in my practice, but we are actually trying to bring in another initiative to make that a standard part of what we do. And I think that having, even if it's for a new patient and them getting to at least meet me face to face and see my hair and my whole face, because we're still surgical caps and the masks and the whole thing. And it's amazing to me how many new patients have come in. And, at this point, I'm used to seeing myself all gowned up, but I'm like, it's amazing. My patients would never know who I was if I saw them on the street.
Wow. I remember that meme that came out beginning of the pandemic. It was something about it had a picture of like a hygienist in her mask or a dentist in her mask, and it said something about like, shoot, now my patients are going to recognize me in the grocery store, right? Now we're all wearing masks.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness! So I'm excited for your new project that you're going to start to work on, and I just think it's virtual care is one of these things where it's so flexible. So yeah, a lot of people try to do the live face-to-face virtual consults over pandemic, and many of them loved it, and it's still a part of their practice. And some of them were like, well, no, I want something more convenient. And so it's one of these things where once you start kind of experimenting it, you realize, oh, I could just send a video over email to my patient. I don't need to actually do it live. I can review a treatment plan. I can, shoot off some recommendations, and then they can send one back to me. And you could do it that way. And you could even just do it during text, right? Which is, I'm a millennial, so text is everything to me. I don't even check email anymore if I have to. But so I'm excited, and I want to hear all that you are about to implement. So we might have to have her back, Sonya.
Absolutely. It would be a joy. Yeah.
I'd love to come back anytime. Anytime spent with you two is like heaven. So anytime, put it in my calendar, I'll be there.
Thank you, Pam, for sharing with us today, and thank you for all that you're going to be doing in this next endeavor in your life, and just being out there and being a face for dentistry. And we really appreciate a face for women in dentistry.
Yes.
We really appreciate that positivity. That's an encouragement for us to keep pushing, because that lets us know that the sky is the limit. We can continue. We all can continue to rise to the top. So thank you for being a part of our show.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you so much. You guys have made my day.
Now, Dr. Pam, is there a way someone can contact you, or how can they read the issue of Dental Economics that's coming out in December?
Yeah, well, okay, so you can subscribe to DE. I don't think everybody realizes that it's a free subscription. So you could just go online, dentaleconomics.com, and you can subscribe to the magazine. So you actually can get, I know this sounds so old school, an actual physical magazine that you can touch and flip through the pages. So I hope you do that, because I actually love reading DE. I did before, but now I obviously do a little bit more now. And then you can actually get the digital version online as well at dentaleconomics.com. You could follow us on Instagram at Dental Economics Official. We also have Facebook, but if you're looking to talk to me, Instagram is great at Dr. Pamela_Maragliano, or you can always email me at pmuniz@endeavorb2b.com. How confusing is that I literally go by 2 different last names?
2021, whatever.
It's okay. We got it. And it'll be in the link below. How about that?
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Pam. Sonya, do you want to wrap?
Yes, thank you everyone for listening. And please tune in next week wherever you listen to your podcast, to Dentistry Gone Wild. Until then, bye.
Bye.